Good morning, everyone. This is Lori in Spokane from the National Weather Service in Spokane. We're doing a special briefing this morning, Tuesday, November 1st, for a wind event we are expecting for Friday night into Saturday morning. So bottom line up front is this wind event Friday night into Saturday, with our main concerns being the potential for power outages, tree damage, and crosswinds making travel difficult. There's other things that we're also keeping our eye on as far as the weather forecast is concerned, and that is we're going to continue to see periods of snow throughout the week across the mountain passes. We will see our first lower elevation snow event Thursday night ahead of this wind. And then there's the potential for more significant lowland snow and colder temperatures for next week as well. So our timing of the winds for this system is the winds will begin Thursday evening and increase through the night and increase even further through the day on Friday. So Thursday night, we might see winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Then through the day on Friday, sustained winds 10 to 20 miles an hour. And then Friday evening through Saturday morning will be our period of windiest conditions, with sustained winds of 15 to 30 miles an hour with gusts up to 50 miles an hour possible. So there is a little caveat in that this is occurring at night. So the winds will be quite strong, a couple hundred feet off the ground, but the question will be, will those strong winds move down to the surface? So because of this nocturnal timing, we're saying that the wind gusts will be sporadic and infrequent at this time, with the highest risk of the strongest winds across the higher elevations like the higher hills and mountains. And then those windy conditions will continue through Saturday afternoon and evening as well. But the strongest period of most impactful winds would be Friday evening through Saturday morning. So here's our wind impact outlook graphic. You can see we have moderate impacts possible across parts of the Eastern Columbia Basin, Palouse, Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, along I-90 to the Montana border, and down across the higher elevations of Garfield County. So the sustained winds for this event would be about 15 to 30 miles an hour, with high confidence of that occurring, and then high confidence of gusts across the region of 35 to 45 miles an hour, and then moderate confidence of seeing something over 45 miles an hour. So here is the wind gust forecast at this time. So you can see the strongest wind gusts are in the mountains, as well as stretching from the Tri-Cities up across 395 I-90 into Spokane and right along the Washington-Idaho border into Post Falls. So that's where right now we're forecasting our strongest wind gusts to occur. But this is our first forecast, so conditions can change between now and Friday afternoon. So here's our probabilities for central Washington. We've broken it up greater than 40 miles an hour, 50 and 60 mile an hour gusts. So you can see that the strongest gusts that we think for greater than the highest probability of greater than 40 mile an hour gusts is across Ritzville and Moses Lake, with greater than 50 mile an hour gusts, pretty high probability for that across the Ritzville area. As we look into eastern Washington, we have high probabilities of greater than 40 miles an hour for Spokane, Pullman, and Pomeroy. And then greater than 50 mile an hour gusts, there's a 60% chance of that occurring in Pomeroy, with just a 20% chance of that occurring in Spokane and Pullman. And for North Idaho, our greater than 40 mile an hour wind gusts, highest probability is Coeur d'Alene at 80%, with Winchester and Lewiston high as well. And then greater than 50 mile an hour wind gusts, we have a 50% chance of that in Lewiston and a 45% chance of that in Winchester. So looking at the wind speeds versus impacts, we're right now that previous graphic that showed our current forecast, our wind gusts were right at the 40 to 50 mile an hour range generally. So we're saying isolated to scattered power outages with downed tree limbs and possibly a few trees. So this might be what it kind of looks like. Your unsecured items being blown around, difficulty driving, choppy winds, and some trees and power line, isolated to scattered tree damage and power outages. Some other things that we are watching is the potential for some blowing dust or some brush fires across the Columbia Basin. Our confidence in that is low, but it has been particularly dry across that region. And there was a brush fire in Grant County within the last couple of days. So if people are choosing to burn or something else, an accident of some kind happens, there is the potential for brush fire Saturday afternoon or blowing dust as well. Now talking about our snowfall for Thursday night and Friday morning, this is our first chance of the valleys, most of the valleys and lowlands seeing snow Thursday night into Friday morning. And this snow would be falling during your Friday morning commute. So we have moderate confidence that it's going to snow. We have low confidence in the accumulations. But something to think about is this snow will likely be wet and heavy. And we've only had about 2 weeks of quote unquote fall weather. I mean, we really didn't get cold until about 2 weeks ago. So there's still a significant amount of our trees that still have a lot of leaves on them. So that's something to take in consideration when you're beginning your preparations for later this week. This heavy wet snow would be falling on trees with lots of leaves still on it. But the snow might still be falling through mid-morning and maybe towards noon. But our temperatures, our winds are going to start to pick up, and our temperatures Friday will be in the 40s. So while it might still be snowing, it won't be really accumulating by mid to late morning and the afternoon. And then we're also watching the potential for cold and snowy next week. We have high confidence that it's going to be cold and an active weather pattern with several rounds of low elevation snow likely. Something to keep in mind is when I say cold, I'm saying about 10 to 15 degrees potentially below average. So that would be highs in the 30s. Currently, our forecasted high temperature for next Monday and Tuesday for Spokane is 34. And our low temperatures would be in the teens to 20s. So that's really quite a change from even what we're seeing now. So that's what we have to present. I'm going to let everyone ask questions if they'd like. And I'm opening it up for people. They can unmute themselves if they'd like to ask questions. A question we'd like to ask as well is, would you like another briefing tomorrow as well, or Thursday or Friday, or all of the above, or just Thursday and Friday, or whatever you guys would like, we will do.
Hey, Lori.
Yeah.
It's Simone.
Hi,
and emergency management, and all of us are here. We think maybe another briefing on Thursday would be good. Maybe you'll have more details and more info. So perhaps tomorrow wouldn't be necessary, but if you had any updates,
okay.
Thursday might be good. That's our thought.
Awesome. That is fine. If anyone else wants to chime in on that, are people okay with Thursday, or some people, would they prefer a Wednesday briefing as well?
I'd echo that.
Okay. Great. Does anyone have any questions as far as the winds for Friday night and into Saturday morning, or the snow for Thursday morning?
Nope, you presented it well and it was very clear.
Okay.
I got one question. This is
Okay.
Ty, Idaho Transportation. What are you thinking of drifting snow?
I think the snow will be fairly wet. So I don't think that there's a really good potential for, and our temperatures aren't super cold right now. So I don't think the potential for drifting snow would be high. I would say it would be very low.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I didn't know if it would drop cold and then snow or how that looked from your side.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hi, this is Ruben Navista. Can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes, I can.
Great. I had a question. You had said that it's somewhat dependent on how close to the ground the wind gets. You know, it's up at the 200-foot level. What are some of the reasons it would or would not drop down?
Well, because at night we typically see inversions. So that typically prevents stronger winds from reaching the surface. So that's the issue, is because of the nighttime frame of the strongest winds. Are the winds going to be strong enough, and is there going to be potentially enough instability or something to mix those stronger winds that are a couple hundred feet off the surface to the ground? So that's why we have a little bit higher confidence of the higher locations, the hills and the mountains, seeing the stronger winds than like the bottom valley floors.
Okay. No, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Hey, Lori, Jerry Bozarth here in Spokane, DEM.
Hi, Jerry.
Quick question on the amount of snow versus, if you possibly recall, 3 years ago, late September, we got that snowstorm and it had a similar effect on the trees that had not lost their leaves yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if you happen to recall, or maybe we can find this information out, how much snow was dropped that day, because I know it was a wet snow.
Yes, but it was more. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
it was more snow than just 1 to 2 inches. It was more like 4 inches.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it was more. I just was trying
Yeah.
to get a handle on how much more, because I know there was very severe tree damage due
Yes.
to that, and this wouldn't be as severe likely due to the amount of snow, but it's very similar, as you had stated, with
Yes.
trees not losing all their leaves yet.
Yes, which is why I wanted to point that out to people so that they're aware. But yes, you are right. It would be, right now we are forecasting less snow than what was experienced during that situation in September, and even the one that we had recently a couple years ago in October as well.
Hey, good news.
Do you have any updated long-term forecast for us?
As far as beyond like the month of November, or like the winter as a whole?
Winter season, La Nina.
Okay.
La Nina.
Yeah, so the Climate Prediction Center is forecasting above average precipitation and below, this is for December, January, February is what I'm talking about. So they are saying below average temperatures and above average precipitation, which is typical La Nina for our region. It's not, we are actually experiencing a third consecutive La Nina, which has only happened twice in the last 50 years. So we don't have a lot of, previous experiences of a triple La Nina. The previous 2 triple La Ninas were the winter of 75, 76, and the winter of 2000 and 2001.
That's interesting.
Yes.
So really kind of similar to last year then is what we're predicting.
Yes. Although I'm sure Wenatchee doesn't hope for that, because they had record snowfall at the beginning of January that caused
Oh,
a lot
yes, I
of,
remember.
yes, caused a lot of damage and difficulty for that region. Wenatchee, Plain, Leavenworth, it was quite impactful
My
for
snow
them.
blower's ready.
Does anyone else have any questions? Okay.
David Howlett, could you comment on, will you be providing, I know it sounds like you might have a meeting on Thursday, but will you provide another deck tomorrow of the forecast if it changes?
Yeah, sure, we can do that. If so,
That'd be great.
we will send out an email right now after this with the YouTube link and these slides, and then the information for the briefing on Thursday. And then tomorrow we will send out a reminder for the briefing on Thursday, and we will provide updated slides then as well.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Sounds good, Lori. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, and we are having our fall partner workshop on Thursday, and we will talk about this on Thursday. So don't feel like you have to pick between one or the other. We will talk about this on Thursday at the fall partner workshop, and we will also do a live briefing Thursday as well, and that will be posted on YouTube Thursday.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
you guys. Thank you guys for coming. Great questions. Have a good morning. If you have questions, please feel free to call or email our office. We're here 24/7. Have a good day. Thank you.
Bye, thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.